Okay. Good morning. What? Good morning. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and go on to Seesaw. We're going to do...
Are you teaching another class?
No.
Wait, Autumn Lee? My mom's name is Autumn.
I remember. Does anyone know what the name Autumn means?
Fall.
Yeah, it's another word for fall. I know, I'm going to assign it to you guys. I know, I'm going to assign it to you. 1 minute. Does everyone have their device today? Okay, now everyone should see it. Go ahead and hit refresh. Take class. Open this one up.
You can't find it. No, never mind. Are you putting it on Rocket League?
Okay, we should have everything put away. We should only have our iPad. So if you have a drawing, if you have anything, put it away. Graphing. Okay, we're going to read this article together. So I'm going to wait for everybody to open it up. Does everyone see this assignment? Raise your hand if you see it. Yes? Okay. What is autumn again? It's fall. It's a season, right? Does anyone know what the picture is here? What do you guys see in the picture?
I see a bunch of leaves.
Hold on. Let's not blurt it out. Carly, what do we see?
Someone's raking leaves.
Leaves. Okay. Now let's read the title. Liam, what does the title say?
Autumn leaves.
Oh, and the title says good news, right?
Good news.
Go ahead, finish
Good
your title.
news, you don't need to rake your leaves. Experts explain why.
So let's just, before we read this, let's just take a good guess as to what it's going to be about. Let's think about what it's going to be about. Good news, you don't need to rake your leaves. Experts explain why. So what does the title make us think it's going to be about?
Raking leaves.
Anybody? Hold on. Liam?
Raking leaves and how autumn, the fall season is going to be.
Okay, that's a good start. Ethan, what do you think the article is going to be mainly about?
How you don't have to rake your leaves during autumn or something.
How you don't have to rake leaves?
How you
Yeah.
In the text it says you don't need to rake your leaves. Experts explain why. And they're going to be explaining why.
Olivia, did you want to share something regarding the title?
I saw a sentence or two, but it
Okay, everybody listen, because we might be thinking the same thing, or we might hear something that makes us think of
I
it.
saw a sentence or two on it, but I think it's because there are nutrients in leaves that can help your lawn.
Okay, so the title really says you don't need to rake leaves. Raise your hand if you've ever had these leaves on your house. Raise your hand. Yes?
I've had them on my ground.
Raise your hand if maybe your parents have ever told you, go rake the leaves. Raise your hand.
No.
It takes a long time, doesn't it? No?
Never tried it.
It's a lot of them. So, we might think we need to rake them, but let's see why. It says experts. Let's see why we may not even have to. So let's go ahead and listen. I'm going to read it to you, okay? It says, autumn is here. In some places, the leaves are starting to change color and fall to the ground. If you and your family are planning to rake the yard and bag up leaves this month, however, you might want to think again. Experts say raking and removing leaves can be bad for your lawn. It isn't good for the planet either. Leaving at least some of the leaves in your yard can be helpful. They fertilize your grass, They provide shelter for little animals. Leaving leaves can even reduce harmful gases coming from landfills. So it says here, if you guys see the black writing, okay, that's the heading. How can leaves help my lawn? So go to the next slide. Fallen leaves on your lawn can serve as natural fertilizer. David Mizejewski says he works for the National Wildlife Federation. The organization protects nature and wildlife, connects people with nature, and provides solutions to climate change. Climate change is significant change in the Earth's climate over a long period of time. It can happen naturally or in response to human activities. Mizejewski says leaves can be good for a lawn. The leaves fall around the root zone of these plants, he explains. They slowly break down and compost right there at the base of the tree. So compost is food for earth, if you haven't heard that before. Or the shrub, right above the root zone. Compost refers to plant matter slowly rotting and falling apart. This makes the soil rich. These processes, he adds, return nutrients that the plant can then recycle and reuse next spring. What about mowing your lawn with leaves on it? Mowing breaks up leaves. This can bring nutrients to your grass, according to Maxim Skalsberg. He teaches about the turf grass nutrition and soil fertility at Penn State University. He says mowed leaves are smaller, so they break down more quickly. Why shouldn't I bag up leaves? According to the Environmental Protection Agency, many bags of yard trimmings are put into landfills. In 2018, there was about 10.5 million tons of it. This included a huge amount of raked leaves. Mizejewski explains that leaves and other organic matter sent to landfills can break down and form methane. Have we learned about that gas, methane? Does anyone recognize that word? Yes, raise your hand. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? We've been learning about that. So that is the greenhouse gas that forms where there's organic waste. Methane traps gas in the atmosphere. It can make climate change worse. So that's really bad for the environment. How do my leaves affect the local environment? The layer of leaves on your lawn is a place where wildlife lives. Mizejewski reminds us it forms a community of living organisms. There are probably thousands of different species that actually live in the leaf layer. He explains most are invertebrates. So think of everything from earthworms and little pill bugs and all sorts of little critters. There are also animals such as salamanders, box turtles, and chipmunks. So those are all the animals that live within that layer of earth, right? So let's go to the next page.
I didn't really hear all that you said. Is it
No,
fine?
there's some more.
Yeah, hold on. I'm zooming in mine. Hold on. There we go. Yes. So caterpillars that find a home among the leaves end up as food source for birds. So what happens if you get rid of every last leaf on your property? So Mizejewski asks, basically you've gotten rid of the food so that birds can use to feed their babies. Maxim warns about blowing leaves from your yard into the street. This can disrupt drains and local waters. When you have foreign debris, it can clog up the grates, he says. That can prevent water from moving off of the surface of the street. Leaves can also end up in the streams and the rivers. That's where drains lead. That can affect the water quality for animals and plants. So can I rake up can I ever rake up the leaves, he asked. the author asks. Sometimes leaves on your lawn form a mat over your grass. So that's not good. Experts agree that you can move them as the weather cools across the country. Ms. Ajewski recommends placing leaves in garden beds, or you can rake them into bigger piles. There they can naturally decompose and they become soil. Max urges people to rake up leaves or break them up with a lawnmower if you're expecting snow. You don't really get snow here, but in other places. So once there's snow, you're not going to mow, and that snow is really going to facilitate the matting, he says. The coverage is going to prevent the leaves from being displaced by winds. Ms. Ajewski encourages us to think about our yards as our own little piece of earth. It's where we can do something good for nature. So did you guys even think about that when we see leaves on our all around?
No.
We really don't think about how that can affect something else, right?
I didn't hear fully what you said. Is that okay?
It's on there. You can go back to it.
And it's okay. And is it fine as long as I have enough to feed him?
Yeah. So let's look at the next slide. Okay. Read those questions really carefully. You can go back to the actual article.
It says to read the section. I think do we have to do that? Like we read it?
Yeah, so it tells you what section. It actually gives you the section. That section is that one right there. If you look back on the article, what section is that? Why shouldn't I bag up leaves? So if you go back to your article, so go back. Why is right there. Do you guys all see that one? Everybody look at slide 2. Do you guys see this section here? Why shouldn't I bag up leaves? That's the section that first question is wanting you to look at. So someone, read to me what the first question says. Ben, what is the first question?
It says, read the section, why shouldn't I bag up leaves? Which sentence from the section shows why bagged leaves can be harmful to the environment?
So which sentence from the section? So are all these sentences in that section? Class?
Yeah.
Yes, right? So you have to determine which of those sentences is the correct one for this question, right? It says which sentence from the section shows why bagged leaves can be harmful. So look at those options. Ethan? You don't have to. You can just circle it, and you guys can circle your best choice. So. Okay, so all of these are in that section. So what? So which one do we think would be the best one used in this section? They're all in there, but which one is actually telling us why it's bad for the environment? Why it's harmful for the environment? Who said A? Who picks A? According to the Environment Protection Agency, remember that organization? Many bags of yard trimmings are put into landfill. Who picks A? Okay, B says in 2018 there were about 10.5 million tons of it. Does that tell us why it's harmful to bag up the leaves?
No.
No, right? That one just says how much there was in that year. C says this included a huge amount of raked leaves. Does that one explain why it's harmful? No. And then which one is D? Ms. Ajewski explains that leaves and other organic matter sent to landfills can break down and form methane. What about that one? What does that tell us?
Like
Paul?
element?
Do you want to think about it? Okay, Olivia, you had your hand raised?
Yes. So it tells us what the gas of the head is harmful, what it can cause.
Right. So this D says, it talks about, someone raise your hand and tell me what the sentence actually includes that tells us it is harmful for the environment. Ben?
So it can break down and form methane, and you told us that methane was bad.
Remember that gas is actually really harmful. Why is it harmful?
It can change our climate change.
It's bad for the atmosphere, remember? What the earth has the atmosphere around it, it's actually bad for the earth because it's forming this gas. We don't see it, we don't smell it, but it actually affects the earth atmosphere, which is really bad, right? So all those leaves, they form that gas when they break down. So that sentence, D, would be the right one because that's the sentence that's telling you why it's really dangerous or why it's harmful for the earth. What about A? Some of you guys said A, which is a really good choice, but does that tell us why it is harmful?
No.
Why not? Why would that one not be our choice? Zeke? Oh, okay. Olivia, did you want to explain your reasoning?
Sure, no, it doesn't tell us why it's harmful. It's just saying, according to this agency, it's telling us many red leaves do get in there, but it's not telling us what they
Right,
do.
that's just telling you many bags of yard trimmings are being put into the landfill. It doesn't tell you why it's dangerous, it just tells you something that happens. That agency is telling you that many bags of leaves are going into the landfill. So the right answer for this one would be D, right? Okay. Go ahead and do the next ones and then we'll go ahead and see what our answers are, okay? So everybody go ahead and do the next one.
Should we reread the section?
Yes, absolutely. You can always go back to your section. That's always a good idea.
It's saying to read the section. I'm saying, oh, do you have to do that?
Yeah, you want to read the section because that's what is going to help you answer the question. So you do have to go back and actually read that section. So class, for number 3, does it have one answer or does it have multiple answers? Multiple, right? So look at number 3 and make sure you're choosing which of the 2 are correct, okay? Because it has multiple answers to it. I mean, you can, but just I'll know like that. Okay, let's look at number 2. Read the section, how can leaves help my lawn? Select the sentence from the article that shows how leaves are helpful to have in lawns. Which one of the sentences shows how leaves are helpful? Someone raise your hand. Someone new. David?
I think
A. So what is this one asking us? Let's see. Okay, what is it asking us to find?
why is not
Why, what, hold on, I can't hear you because I
why
feel.
is not making the leaves helpful?
So why is not raking the leaves helpful? Right? This one's actually asking us which of the sentences shows us that leaving leaves on the lawn is actually helpful. Right, Kaden? So you picked A.
Yeah.
Fallen leaves on your lawn can serve as natural fertilizer. Who picked A? Raise your hand. Okay, explain your reasoning. Do you want to explain your reasoning, Dee? You think that one was the best choice? Why?
Because it helps the environment.
Okay, it does help the environment. We know that from the article. Did anybody pick something different? Ethan?
I picked A.
Oh,
but
you
can I
picked the
say
same
how,
one?
yeah, can I say how I
Yes,
thought
absolutely.
it was right? I thought it was right because the question's asking you how the leaves are helpful to your lawn, and I picked they can, because they do natural fertilizer that can help your lawn.
They can. And then the other ones are in the article, but those, let's see, B says the organization protects nature and wildlife, connects. That one just explains what, class? What? That doesn't even talk about leaves, does it? B? Class?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Hold on. Okay, you're just gonna do this. Okay, so it's A. Fallen leaves act as a natural fertilizer. The other ones are facts, but they don't talk about leaves. What about number 3? Who got number 3? I think everybody where I saw had chosen at least an answer, right? Okay, what did you get, Zeke?
I got C.
C. What is C? What were the options for C?
1 and 4.
1 and 4? Who wants to defend that?
Wait, what was it?
We're on number 3.
Can
So
I
it says
say-
read the sentences. Which 2 sentences are the main ideas from the article? Do you want to defend it, Aiden, or do you want to?
I want to say one.
Okay.
I said 1 and 2 because it says which 2 sentences
Wait, I don't think 1 and 2.
in the article.
So which one was your choice, Aiden?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. So you're saying if you and your family are planning to rake the yard and bag up the leaves this month, however, you might want to think about it again. And then number 2.
Yes.
Experts say raking and removing leaves can be bad for your lawn. Okay, that does sound pretty close. And
Yeah, that's what I think.
I
Ethan?
don't know.
Yeah, I picked that one, and I think it's correct because it talks about like how the leaves can be helpful for your grass
Yeah.
or not.
okay, did anybody have something different? Olivia?
I think 2 and 3 is the answer.
2 and 3. Who picked 2 and 3? Okay, why did we pick 2 and 3?
Can I
2
say?
and 3.
Yep.
I believe it should be 2 and 3 because that's because that's what it mainly talks about. So basically, raking at least some of the leaves in your yard can be helpful, and it's for say raking and removing leaves can be bad for your lawn. And then Ms. Ajewski recommends placing the leaves in garden beds. That number 4 is just a detail that is, first of all, number 4 is just a detail that is supporting,
That's just a tip that they gave you, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
if you and your family are planning your yard bag of leaves this month, however you might want to think again, it just doesn't really give the whole, it could be a main idea, but number 2 is better. Number 2 and 3 are better.
Yeah, so that one talks about both. The reason why you shouldn't rake the leaves, but it also does talk about some of the reasons why you want to leave some. That's why if you look at number 3, it says some. Doesn't tell you leave them all there. Okay? So those are the 2 that support the main idea. Okay, Ethan?
I meant to say, I put 2 and 3.
You put 2 and 3? I know you did, I saw you. Okay, so let's go ahead and do, we're gonna write a short summary together. No, dang it. We're gonna do it together.
So we just rewrite basically.
We're gonna do it together, yes, this is gonna be practice. Okay, so you guys recognize this?
Yep.
Okay, what does it have? It has, how does it start? Look at how it starts.
It wants you to tell you the article.
Yes, we want to write the main idea, right? Now, class, are we gonna have this all the time like this written down for us?
No.
No. So this is telling you and showing you how we should be practicing writing a summary, right? So look at what it has already in the article. What does it say here? Name the article. You always want to name the article. That's why I asked you about the name of the article. That's the name of the article, right? You want to talk about that because in your summary, you are addressing something that you just read. In this case, we just read the article. So let's go ahead and do that. What's the name of the article? Who's raising their hand? Not everybody at once. Paul. I'm sorry, Nathan. Sorry.
Autumn leaves.
Is that the name of the article, class?
No.
Who said no? Olivia said no? Who said yes? That's the name of the article.
Yes.
Okay, look at the article. Look in black words, and usually the title is really bold, and look at the size of the letters. So this title is called Good News, You Don't Need to Rake Your Leaves. Experts explain why. That's your title. So let's go ahead and put that into our summary.
And most of them aren't capitalized. They're only circles.
Yes. Okay, is everybody writing this? Okay, does everybody, I know you guys are still typing, but who's still typing the title? Oh, you're still typing the title? Okay.
Should we put a
You
period?
might want to type it, sometimes voice to text, or make sure you are fixing your title if you do voice
to text?
like the speech to text.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you are fixing that, because when you do that, it might not capitalize certain words and it might not include everything you need.
No, it will.
It will capitalize?
Yeah, like
Capitalizes.
when you say Native American,
Oh,
it's
the
gonna.
E, there's no capital E on experts.
Yeah, you have to, before you do the voice text, you have to press the capital
Yes.
letter.
I'm just saying, always just make sure you look it over, okay? Sometimes that does make a mistake and you don't wanna make a mistake because of that. So I'm gonna put it right here, but that's the title, it goes there. So the author, look here, what kind of word do we wanna use when we talk about the author? What kind of word do we wanna use?
Explain.
A verb, right? What's a verb? You just said a verb. You said explain? Explain? Yeah, you're telling how the author is talking. Describe, explains, those are verbs. So what can we use here? The author what?
Explain.
Explains.
Or
Can I say what I put?
Yes.
describe.
The author explains why not raking some of your leaves can be good for the environment.
So that was your main idea, right? So the author explains. Say that one more time, Olivia.
The author explains why not raking some of your leaves can be good for the environment.
Is that our main idea? Can be good for the environment. What was our main idea, class? Remember, we just said,
Automation. Or
Yeah, but it's still, I think it's why it can be good for the environment.
so our main idea from our previous question was experts say raking and removing leaves can be bad for your lawn. It does talk about leaving some leaves on there, but the whole article is mainly about what? Is it mainly talking about leaving some of the leaves? Or is it mainly talking about the dangers of leaving them?
Dangers of leaving.
Yes, open it up.
But the why not means the why not raking, that kind of implies that.
That why not? Say your main, maybe I didn't hear you.
Explains why not raking some of your leaves can be good for the environment.
Okay.
But I say it can be that. Environment. And then I put and what can happen if you do.
So then you're stating that the main idea is why it's helpful for the environment?
And yeah, and what it can do is what it can do.
Okay, go.
What it can do to make the environment bad.
Okay. Who thinks the main idea of the article is that having the leaves on the lawn is harmful? How many think leaving them on the lawn is helpful? Raise your hand.
I think a combination of both.
It's both, right? So it's telling you why there are reasons why raking them is a bad idea. Does anybody remember what was one thing that the author talked about? Where the leaves go when you bag them up? Where do they go?
They go to the
And it was like 10.5 tons of leaves.
Okay. They go into landfills. What happens when they go into the landfill?
They die.
They decompose and they form a gas, right? So we don't want to bag them up. What can we do instead? What can we do instead? What did the article say? We can use the lawnmower, and that goes back to the earth,
I don't know because I didn't
right? So for this one, we want to say the author explains.
I don't know because I didn't read that.
How taking off the
How, like Olivia said, how not raking leaves can we say helpful? Can we say good for the environment? We can say all those things, right? Right? We'll say helpful.
They can be a great interpreter. I'm gonna type what you put.
Yep. Now let's go ahead and look at some of the.
Can we put
Harley,
environment?
did you have a question?
No.
Okay, can you see?
I have a question.
Okay, let's go ahead and find our details. Let's go back to the article and find how the author tells us why it is helpful. Ethan.
Can we put environment at the end of?
Yeah, you can put environment, how not raking leaves can be helpful for the environment, of course, yes. Okay, let's find three details that support our main idea. I want to see three details.
Aiden, what are you doing?
Giving him a pencil.
Oh.
So let's find three details. Okay, everybody get your highlighter on your assignment and highlight three details.
I can't, because I didn't read it.
Okay, I want to see yours. Okay, go ahead and catch up. Yeah, but go ahead and catch up. We're not doing this right now. Okay, let's highlight three details. So I'm going to come around. I want to see those details. I want to see three of them. Liam, are you highlighting your details?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, let's put this away.
Why it's helpful to not break them.
I can't find any.
I broke the Jenga like this one.
So we're looking for details that are supporting the wall, not breaking them. Why not breaking them? It can be helpful. Okay. So this one here, we're finding details that help us understand why we're getting them clean.
Liam, put your mask on. Okay, someone raise your hand. I'm going to call on someone if I don't see hands raised. Who wants to share their first detail? Raise your hand. Table 6, you guys want to share your first detail? What does the article say that will support our main idea? You're still writing? Okay, we were just highlighting, remember? We were just highlighting. Okay, Zeke?
So you don't have to write it?
Not yet.
According to the environment protection
Okay, wait, what page is it on?
it is on page 2.
Oh, class, everybody listen, you might have the same one.
Page 2.
Page 2, slide 2?
Yeah.
Okay, you said according?
According to the environment protection agency EPA, many bags of lead chimneys are put in landfills from making those about 1.5 million tons of lead. This includes
Okay, that's a good one. Does that tell us how it's helpful for the environment? Like why? Does it tell us how bad it is?
It's like including.
That one just states the fact of how many are raped, right? Like how many bags are being put. Does that make sense, Eve? Olivia?
I highlighted flower leaves on your lawn can serve as a natural fertilizer.
Yes. Does everybody see that? It acts as a natural fertilizer. That would be our first detail.
I put the message Yuski explains that leaves and other organic matter sent to landfills and can break down and form lemons.
Okay, for your first detail. Okay, everybody look up here. Everybody type this up. First,
Okay.
what did we say about natural fertilizer? Leaves. Everybody type this. Leaves are fertilizer. Natural and fertilizer are really the same thing. Fertilizer is natural. It's fertilizer for the earth or the environment. Okay, that's your first detail. You can put different ones. I'm just giving you examples. What's our second detail? That is an opinion. What else did it talk about? Class, what's living on Earth in your yard? What do we see? There's animals, chipmunks. Does anybody remember it talked about chipmunks? What do the leaves do to those animals? Raise your hand. Don't blurt it out. What do leaves do to those critters? Oh, hold on. One at a time. Think about it. It's really cold. What might those leaves do to those animals? It's home. It's home for them.
Yeah.
Leaves can act as homes for animals. Critters, animals. You guys can use chipmunks. You can say what animal. Ben, go ahead. Can act. Can act.
Home.
Okay, what's the third detail? What else did it talk about?
Home. For.
Okay, are we typing this? We are? What's our last detail? What else did it talk about that it provides?
As homes for animals.
What are we keeping out of the ocean? Trash. And if we're blowing our leaves into the, have you guys seen the gutters that are in the street? That goes into the ocean.
Wait, what?
Oh,
Right?
I didn't know that.
What did the article talk about? When we do that, Ethan?
Can I tell you how once I saw like a bunch of leaves, like all like going into the sewers, and I also see like a bunch of leaves in like you know how your sidewalk like goes down?
Mm-hmm.
They all get piled up right there.
They do, yes.
And then my dad said when like someone like is watering their lawn, the water comes down there and then it goes into the sewer.
Yes. It does go into the sewer. So that actually disrupts the drain. Go ahead, Christine. It disrupts the drain and it actually affects the fish in the water. So also, class, look up here. Keeping leaves can help by not clogging the drains, right?
Mr. Beast
So everybody type that into that one.
Mr. Beast made team trees.
Which one?
And team C.
Is that part of this?
Is it okay if I say something else?
Yes, I'm giving you an example. Everybody should write their last detail. Are you done with yours, Addison? Put your iPad on your desk. Okay, finish this up, please. Finish this up so we can move on to something really, really nice and exciting.
Wait, is it
No, I'm not gonna say it.
Is it for Emma?
I'm not gonna say it until everybody's done with this.
I thought of something in my head and it just came to my head and it leaves.
Okay, everybody else finish this and turn it in, please. Finish the last detail.
Leaves if you break them, they turn into nothing.
If you rake them? Yes. When they go into the landfill, they turn into nothing.
Can I put
Okay, Liam, are you done? Yeah. Okay, put this away. We're not using this. Okay, is everybody finished with this?
Yes.
No. Okay, please put your mask on. Who's still working on this one?
I'm just finishing.
Finishing? Okay.
I have two to do. Like I can't find any more.
There's many, many in there. I gave you 3 examples. Remember? You're not going to need it for... Okay, go ahead and turn. Go ahead. No.
I can't find any.
Okay, let's go ahead and hit draft so we can move on. Just go ahead and hit draft if you're not done. Okay. Did everybody hit draft or submit? Yes? Okay. Once you're done with that, close your iPad. Everybody close your iPad. I don't want to see anything on your desk. Close your iPad. Nothing on your desk. You guys have a lot of stuff on your desk. Up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't want to see anything on your desk. Put your iPad away. Close your iPad. Liam, close your iPad. If you have a bunch of stuff on your desk, I suggest you clear it out because you're going to need space. Okay, what's the matter? Okay, let's keep our hands to ourselves and just work within our desk. Okay? All right. Are we ready or am I still waiting?
Or submit it.
Why do you have to write something?
Can your white marker cover things up? Like this?
All right. We just got done. Oh, I'm going to wait for some of of the iPads to be turned off or to be closed. I'm still waiting for some.
Oh my god.
If you have your iPad open, please close it. I'm waiting for maybe one iPad or two. Hold on. Bradley, close your iPad. Okay, who am I waiting for? Bradley. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody, look up here. Okay, we are learning, and we just got done learning about some of your Native American tribes, right? Does anybody remember what tribe they have? Okay. All right. So, hold on. Back then, I'm going to wait for you guys. Back then, they used to communicate with drawings. Has anybody heard the word pictograph?
No.
What have you heard? Yeah, there's symbols. Who said symbols over here? I heard symbols. Yes, they use symbols to tell stories, to communicate, right? So there's the symbols is what they used to perhaps maybe tell stories to one another, pass down to their children and generations. So what we're gonna do, hold on, just wait a minute, wait.
Oh wait, I think I know.
Are we gonna make something? Are we gonna make a
Wait, are we doing what Miss Rios did?
What is
For
that?
like the
You
map.
guys have this in your iPad, but I want you to look up here first. That's why I don't want you opening up your iPad. Okay?
Are we doing what was it out? Oh yeah.
Oh no.
So what we're gonna do, hold on.
Right, all that stuff.
This is in your seesaw, so hold on.
Yeah, it is.
It's in your seesaw, but you guys don't have to open it yet. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a replica. Who knows what a replica is? What's a replica, Lily?
Like a replica is basically like you have a replica of like something which is basically a copy of something.
It's like a version of it, right? It's like a copy of it. So we're gonna do, oh, hold on, I'm gonna wait. These are really important directions, you don't wanna miss it. We're gonna actually do it on, we're gonna do a story or a sentence that best describes our tribe. Okay? We can be as creative, there is no rule, you can use any of the symbols that we have here.
Don't we have to crumble it?
Hold on, please come on over to the desk. Wait till the end to ask questions. We are gonna have hands on hips.
I feel like I wouldn't be able to do this.
Hold on just a minute, just ask at the end. We are gonna go ahead and draw it on here. I will tell you what to do as soon as I give you the paper bag. This is a paper bag, okay? Who is fiddling? I hear some fiddling.
What is that?
I don't know. Hold on, but just hold on a minute. I hear it again.
I don't.
These are the symbols. This symbol here means happy. If you pick that symbol, you can use it and then you would draw that symbol on your pictograph. I'm going to show you what to do. Yes, we are going to crumple it up and I'm going to show you what it would look like. So if I'm talking about my tribe, I'm going to pick the symbols that best describe my tribe, right? I might be talking about them going fishing and hunting. I'm going to tell you one more time and that's fine, okay? Hold on. There's so many to choose from. You guys can pick whichever ones you want. I'm going to show you the one I have done. So it'll look like this. We are going to crumple. We are going to crumple it first. Really, like good. And then we're going to smooth it out. I'm going to show you how to do it and then we're going to trim the excess. So I chose, if you look at here, I chose the symbol for the sun, which means day. So I picked, and you don't have to choose these. During the day, this symbol here is man, okay? A man. So the men went to the river, that's the symbol for river, to fish. They went back home to their tribe. They made a campfire. They ate together, and then they were happy. So that's what I chose for my story. Okay, so you guys can be as creative as you want. All right, we're gonna do the crumbling together. Okay, so who are my material helpers? Coming up here. Hold on, no, hold on. Man, sit down.
Can't wait First job I did was
Just one. Don't go ahead. Wait till you give direction.
We should have more jobs.